Turning to our legal breakdown, defendant Trump is scrambling to face many legal cases. Tonight, he filed several motions trying to get the Jack Smith classified documents case dismissed. So that's going on over on the criminal side. But Trump's other legal losses are having the kind of deep impact on him, his business, and his campaign in ways that I can tell you as a factual matter he has never faced before. $600 million are his total losses. That's a quarter of what Donald Trump has, according to the estimates, including by New York State, which prosecuted this case, of course. But Trump's not acting like someone who can afford to pay up. He's on the line for over $350 million, as you see there in the fraud loss, plus literally $100 million in interest, plus all those other costs. And the judge is not letting Trump deal through his usual delay tactics in New York, flatly rejecting this request for a recent delay. As a losing defendant, Donald Trump must put down money for all of this, even if he appeals. Now, Attorney General James has warned she will seize assets and buildings if he tries to duck the debt. And here's where all of this cuts into the campaign. Trump has been passing along some of these legal bills right on to his supporters. There is a political action committee that he is involved with, and they have actually taken not 1 or 2 or 3 million, not 10 or 15 million, but $50 million in lawyer bills. Okay, that's last year, and it keeps on coming. Another $3 million just in last month alone. So we have that sound I wanted to show you now with some context, because a Trump family member who is seeking a role to run the party, Laura Trump, says Republicans are interested, she thinks, in covering these bills.
Do you think paying for President Trump's legal bills is something that is of interest to Republican voters?
Absolutely.
And here's why we're showing you that. She is not just a random family member. She is trying to come into basically a leadership position in the whole RNC, and she's out there claiming everybody would pay for this, maybe because she'll just say anything or she's afraid. I don't know. She doesn't happen to have the whole story, and that's part of this breakdown I want to share right now, because there are a couple problems with her claim that Republican voters want to fund this. First, the basic political math. Every dollar that Trump takes away from campaign operations for his personal debts costs the campaign and the party. In other words, it might personally enrich him, and you might say, oh, is that even fair? How is that even legal? But even if he does that, right, that means that dollar or that $50 million doesn't go towards trying to win the election this year. So it might be good news for Trump's bank account, but it's bad news for Trump, the candidate, and the Republican Party. And that brings me to this. An RNC official is trying to clean this up, telling Politico that their budget doesn't allocate any money to those Trump legal fees, saying, I don't think it's appropriate for the RNC committee there to pay the legal bills for filings or things, quote, done outside the work of the committee. So what you see there, even in this environment where we hear the talking points, the conventional wisdom about how all Republicans go along with Trump and they'll do whatever he says, or they'll even fund his personal debts and lifestyle, you actually see pushback. You see the RNC saying, hold on, even if he's the nominee, we don't want to pay for all this. And then there's the strain that's showing, because Trump's current campaign is actually right now in the red. Finances show a, quote, alarming picture, particularly to would-be donors who aren't eager to subsidize Trump's legal challenges. That in a nonpartisan report in the AP. Or take Bloomberg, which is a financial outlet. They're not particularly pro or anti-Trump, but they note that the spending he's been doing is more than the raising he's been doing. And, as they put it quite simply, meanwhile, the PAC, quote, helped on legal fees. So even if Trump can cover some debts this way, his personal gain is coming very clearly at a loss to the campaign and the party. I told you there are a couple reasons. That was all just reason number one, why it's bad for them politically, because they're wasting money that otherwise would go towards trying to win in November. And second, raiding the party's bank for these bills is unpopular even for many Republicans. That's why, even though I showed you what Laura Trump claimed Republicans might be open to doing, we're learning that that idea, that the RNC would cover the bills, is actually too risky, maybe too dumb for even Trump's advisors to get on board. They're publicly insisting they won't take any RNC money to cover these legal bills. They tell ABC, instead of the RNC footing the legal bills, the candidates' fundraising entities, including the leadership PAC, Save America, will cover it along with him. So what's going on here? Again, this is a little different than the talking points, the conventional wisdom out there. Turns out there is a real clash here. The Trump team is trying to deny what Laura Trump even said because they understand how bad this looks. They don't want the RNC and its members to see Trump as a kind of a needy deadbeat, like the boyfriend Beyonce famously had to ditch over bills in the song Bills, Bills, Bills.
I'm sick of you coming in here asking for my keys. You trifling. You need your own
Baby,
car.
I'm just going out to-
Here, take them. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you.
Beyonce, why you bugging?
But Beyonce was not bugging. She knew her value, and while many can recall that chorus, "Can you pay my bills?" remember in the song she details the long con of a deadbeat scrub. Might sound familiar to some in politics right now. At first, things started out cool, taking me places, she recounts. But then the con emerges, Beyonce explaining, "You're making me pay for things that your money should be handling. You have the audacity to step to me asking to hold money from me until you get your next check." Now, who really wants a partner like that? Not Beyonce or her character in that song, and not the RNC, which is now publicly skeptical of taking Republican Party money, which comes from Republican voters and donors, which is for campaigns. They have a big one this November, and taking that away from Republicans to just cover debts from Donald Trump's court losses over his own personal business. And Trump's team is thus emphasizing they would never take the RNC's money for these bills, bills, bills. Now, that doesn't mean Trump wants to pay it. They have a plan to take that money from other donors and the PAC donors instead of the RNC. So we do get back to the same question. Can you pay my legal bills? Then maybe we could chill. All right. That might be enough Beyonce-fication of the news tonight, but I do want to review the core point here because it is not only important, it's actually different from this D.C. MAGA-friendly narrative we hear that, oh, nothing touches Trump, or he'll find a way out, or he'll throw other people's money at it. But when you take it all together here, here's what's happening. Trump's legal losses are cutting into his finances. They're hobbling his business. They're draining his political operation of funds that would otherwise go to November, his reelection, and other Republicans on the ticket. They're straining his arrangement with the RNC, which clearly has some limit on what it wants to do in subsidizing a Republican, even a former president's, personal bills from business. And that, everything I just said and walked you through, is from the civil cases alone. None of this reaches the more serious matter of the four pending criminal trials the former president also faces.